What I think you should be focused on are names like... Hey everybody, hope you had a great trading day. So there's a ton for us to go over. The very first thing we have to address is Snap's earnings, what happened with Tesla today, what stocks are breaking out, what happened with STK and why is it down 10%. There's a ton to go over. We're going to go over those things first. But let's just talk about Tesla and what happened today. So I want to just point this out so people kind of get how to trade in these kinds of markets, because I'm just seeing a lot of just buying, and then when you start seeing weakness, you're getting out. So you're seeing a lot change. And one of the things that's changing pretty clearly is that dips are being bought. So having your levels drawn properly can set you up for entries. This was a great entry into the trade today, into Tesla. And then you could see how you just kind of worked your way up to other levels. And we'll go through where these levels are from. And you can see how that 809.77 level was just clear bonk level all day. But you can see how you worked your way up until you got to that 825 and went from there. But what you want to do with these levels, I'm overlaying a 1 minute chart. Now here, take a look. This is a 15-minute chart. And what I want to show you is this was the level that I talked about yesterday where I said, hey, watch this level really closely. Always watch these 15-minute points, okay? And you also watch the close and the open of those 15-minute points because they're very specific areas. Now, why is that important? It's important because if you take a look at that 15-minute 778 line and then you extrapolate that out to the 1 minute and you overlay this, you can see very clearly how that was your exact entry point. And you had a little reversal pattern there you can zoom into and see it. And then you just flip and then you just go. And then you start working your way up. So by overlaying that, it makes sense. Now, if you take a look at this by going into the hourly, and I'll just overlay this even clearer. Let's pull this back. So, and you can just see how this started working its way up on the hourly, right? Now look at the hourly without the pre and the post. This was our first level, that 765, right? So look at how you gapped right over that on the daily. Okay, that's where you started your day at. So that told you exactly what was going to happen. Right off the rip. So if you were looking for that level and you were watching that 765, we talked about that today in the pre-market video, the live stream this morning. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, click all notifications, because what we go over, especially during earnings season, is extremely timely. We said if we flip here, there's no resistance to 793. So even if you did look at it these ways and look at the 778, which really doesn't add up, right? But we know why it's there. We know why that level's there. You could see you responded to that 792.63. It's not a coincidence that that was the open and close of that particular bar. And then you can see how you bounce around 809. Right now, very safely, you are wedged in between 809 and 825. How this goes tomorrow with what happened with STAP and Seagate, remains to be seen. But overall, you might see some profit taking. We're just really going to have to see how it plays out. But there's a couple others here that we really need to go over. So Meta's down 5% or $10. And frankly, I find the comparison at this point, like it was fine back in the day when these companies started, right? When Meta came out and you're back here in 2012 and we were comparing it to Snap. To have Meta drop $10 on Snap's earnings is kind of silly at this point. So I think that this is overdone, and I think we've seen this before, and usually Meta's going to do whatever Meta's going to do, right? So I would not be throwing the whole sector out because of this. Matter of fact, this is one that I'm actually playing after hours now, and you're going into earnings. I'm not in a big hurry to blow this out. I think you're getting a deal here down $10 after the move it just had. If you take a look at where we were when we closed, okay, you were at 183. So we just lost $10 in per share because Snap. And let's be honest about it at this point. Here, look at the pre in the post. And let's be honest about it at this point. It's very clear that Snap has management issues. It's very clear what the problem is there at this point. It's just a rudderless ship. There's really no other way to say it. I mean, if you look at this quarter, I don't know how, if you just walk through what they've done without getting very specific into the numbers, this is where they confirmed guidance and the stock went down, okay? This is where they confirmed your guidance and the stock went up. This is where they said, well, guidance might not be as great as we thought, came down, right? Then they came, well, guidance really isn't going to be as good as we thought. And that is literally 20 days of trading between those two dates. So then they throw the kitchen sink at it, or we think it's the kitchen sink. And then we look at this level and realize, wait a minute, it's even worse than what they just said it was going to be. So there is literally no credibility here whatsoever with this company. I tried a really quick trade after hours. It did not work. I would be really careful bottom fishing this. There are some names I'm going to give you right now that you could look at bottom fishing or playing this bounce. This would not be one of them. This is just an outright disaster. They're slowing hiring, talking about cutting next quarter as well. And then for some reason, they're talking about they can't give good guidance, but they're going to buy $1 billion worth of stock back. It doesn't make sense. If you don't have good guidance, you save your cash. So a lot of people are just going to throw in the towel on this and see that's enough. They're not going to get it together. The good news for us as investors is that I think that this will probably be the last time that we'll have to deal with Snap moving some of these juggernauts around. So, but just watch this level and watch 1188, because if you break 1188, you're going to have a real issue. That's my, just my opinion of it. Now, one of the things I said earlier, and you probably won't see this for an hour, but one of the things I was trying to point out earlier is when you see these little moves down, they present opportunity, right? So this is really hard to see what's going on, but this went down to like 177. We're already back to 178. NVIDIA down $2, $3 because of, we can either say Snap or it's down to this level because of STX. Look, STX is its own business, okay? And they absolutely just had an awful quarter, guided lower, and you're already orbing here. So maybe this was kind of factored in. Maybe this will move up. We just don't know. What I do know is this is affecting semis. It's affecting some stocks. I'm not so sure it should be affecting this. What I think you should be focused on are names like Pins, for example, okay? So take Pins and what's going on right now. Pins is one where we know that we have a buyer. How do we know we have a buyer? Well, Elliott Management bought 9% of the company, right? Probably, I think a little over 9%. And they started doing it right in here. Do you think that they're not going to support this stock at some level in here? Somewhere there's going to be support for this because they're going to take advantage of this depression in price. And they're also going to take advantage of what Snap just did to put more pressure on Pin's board. So that's what's going to wind up happening there because you're going to get more shareholders amenable to them. So you're going to see them put a little pressure on it. So I think that's a great one to play. I think Meta after hours is a very good one to play. You're seeing names pull back that really had no business pulling back. Amazon pulled back. You're down a full dollar on Amazon because of Snap. Even if you're saying it's because of Seagate, which makes 0 sense, these are giving you very quick short-term trading opportunities after hours right now, in my opinion. And I'm going to be taking advantage of some of those. Now, some other names that are running that people are having a hard time understanding, and I'm having a hard time as well. This is one that we put in the newsletter. There's a link to the newsletter below, so you can follow the free version and follow along what we do. But this is pretty clear. We just broke out $34. It was pretty clear breakout. People are watching the home builders and the suppliers go up. The issue with these going up, I'm going to show you lows as well. So this is one we're in at 190, and you can see I broke out up $3.50 today. Why am I pointing these out? Because you're seeing other sectors get money. So if we start seeing tech sell down because of Snap or Seagate, it does not mean that this rally is going to go away. It means that the money's going to rotate. So in my opinion, the money's going to rotate. Where's that money going to rotate to? I think it could rotate back into consumer discretionary. You have Amazon coming out next week. You have the Fed meeting next week. But I think you could go into consumer discretionary. This is when we bought $5 ago. And you can see how we're doing with it. But I think we can get to that 129 very, very easily. Also have some leaps on this. So you can go into different fields, okay? You don't have to just be in tech. They're going to want to diversify out because they, meaning the large funds of the world. Like there was a statement today, CalPERS came out. They said they're down 6% on the year. Well, their pension fund needs to make 6 to 8% a year just to keep up. And if they're not even doing that and they're down, they're going to put money to work. Now, they might not put money to work in the Snaps of the world, but they're going to go out there and go, show me the names that are trading under or at book value. And some people are going to argue that DH Horton is there. It's not really my kind of trade. But if they're looking out 5 years and say we can buy a company for its tangible book assets, do we want to own them? Then yeah, you're going to see these names move and you're going to see Nail kind of trade its way back up. At the same time, names like Lowe's and Home Depot will see money because if people aren't moving, and we know they're not moving because mortgage applications are down 5.6%. But if we know that that's the case, then names like Lowe's, Home Depot, okay, they're going to move, which is going to take Nail up as well. So I know I'm throwing a lot at you, but there's a lot of moving parts going on right now, and I think you should just pay attention to them. You might want to watch this one a couple times because I gave a couple nuggets in there on things that that are starting to change. As always, please comment on these videos. It's how I create content. I do want to finish with the cues and what's going on in the bond market. There's nothing that you could look at with this chart and tell me that we're going to go here. Look at the 50-day. Who can look at this and tell me we're going to reverse? I'm not saying that we're not going to reverse, but you have to play the hand that you're dealt, right? You have to trade what's in front of you. And there's no way that you can look at this and say, you know what, this is going to reverse and come down. Well, why? Because Snap had bad numbers? Because nobody wants what Seagate's selling? No one's wanted what Seagate's been selling for the past decade. They just buy it because they have to, right? So think about it from that perspective. I don't see how that's going to change. I really don't. SPY, there's too many things going on here. You're above the 50. Yes, you were above the 50 here before, but there's a major difference going on right now, okay? I have a massive curl on the 21-day. I'm above the 50 as we were here. Yes, we had this curl here, but it was nowhere near as deep as this one is. And I have sectors, all my sectors are bidding up. It's not one sector that's leading. It's money pouring into the market. And frankly, I think you're going to start seeing money come in by institutions that are going to have no choice because they're so underinvested and they can't underperform. Look at what happened today with the bond market. Look at how they were selling bonds and bought them all day long, right? There was a trade yesterday. We were talking about this trade and the put flow that was in it. And now look at it at the end of today. Now this is back up 117. People are buying bonds. Okay. And, this is why I always, even if I want to be out of a trade, if I'm only up a couple bucks, I always leave the stop at break even. You might want to remember that so that you don't get blown out just in case it does go up. Worst case scenario, I would have broken even on it. And this way I'm up $5. So that's it. That's all I have. If you're interested in the trading room, there's a link in the top right corner. Just click on it and it will give you a preview of the room. That's all I have, everyone. Have a great evening and trade to win tomorrow. It's going to be a fun one.